So, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's well. It's 15 o'clock GMT now. So, why don't we get started? Now? I'm going to go through the currency first, see what's going on there, and I'll jump into different market. I'll go to commodity, indices, and crypto in that order. All right, so why don't we get started? Let's get started with dollar index. So, let's get started. With dollar index, finally we're seeing some bullish move, right? I've been talking about dollar index for pretty much ever since prices started consolidating in this area. We're finally seeing some sort of bullish momentum, which is kind of what I expected or what I've been waiting for patiently. So this area here, if this is going to be that bullish breakout, looks like it might be. And last confirmation, like I always mention, wait for some sort of corrective structure, corrective price action on the lower time frame once we broke out of this higher time frame correctional phrase, and look for further upside to take on most of the dollar pairs. So definitely seeing this can be the turning point. We'll see just that one last bit of confirmation, a little bit more development on the lower time frame. That can be our kind of signal for the next dollar strength. So nothing changes since all this price action. We push the price down, and I mentioned that high time frame we're approaching this bottom. It doesn't necessarily have to touch the bottom. It's all about how the lower time frame reached that area. What did the lower time frame do? That's going to be my way to kind of dissecting into this and having a better bias for the dollar strength. Good morning, Silky. Nice to see you. Currently dollar yen long on 1% lock-in. Very confident as I do my trade analysis on my own and see you're looking at the same setup. Oh, that's great. That's great, Brent. Yeah, I am in dollar yen as well. I'll go over that after. Um, yeah, let's continue here. So that's what I see on dollar index. So most of the dollar pairs, I do see that same thing, right? We talk about Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar is still looking very clean. We finally broke out of this ascending channel. There is strong bearish push to the upside, downside, sorry, and then there was a continuation correction. So this was a continuation correction to correct overall this move that broke out of this ascending channel. So it looks like we're dropping more, which is all good, right? This is kind of what we're looking or what we're expecting it to do. Just looking for further downside, right? Looking for price to actually reach the beginning of this correction. It's just nature of how the market would move. So if you didn't capture this or you didn't get in this, look for further correction down to the lows here. We're just about we're just about to start this next bearish run, right? Next bearish run on the higher time frame. So there's certainly a lot of room to the downside. Okay, so higher time frame wise, this is clearly the ascending channel that I've been talking about for many, many times. We see them played out over and over again in the price, right? So it's all about identifying what the price is doing and look for a possible short, look for a possible entry on the lower time frame. Okay, so I definitely see this continue downwards, just looking for better setup or looking for entry. I didn't get into this. I was in dollar yen already, so fine to just observe a little bit more. Once I can move dollar yen to break even or something like that, I would look into other dollar pairs. Euro dollar is certainly the one that I'm going to focus on. So let's take a look at euro dollar here. Hey DM Wash, nice to see you. So euro yen, we talk about euro yen again for many, many weeks. Looks like we finally have a potential bearish run on the lower time frame, and that could lead into this higher time frame push out. So on the lower time frame here, what do we see? Well, from top, we know that we formed this ascending channel completion. We push the price down and push down, and looks like we're breaking down below. And the latest confirmation for me was I was looking at this. I wasn't interested in getting into this short. I was more interested if we can see a bearish breakout, right? And this looks like we're going to happen, which is a great thing. So that's why I don't jump into these positions. I mentioned that you can just bounce off the bottom here and potentially move up. And this is why waiting for that confirmation breakout and then confirmation correction is always what I look for. Okay, in this kind of sense. So wait for price to push out a little bit more. It looks like we could get that bearish momentum to just continue downwards and look for a continuation here. All right. So euro dollar certainly is going to be on my watch list for the remaining of the week. If we actually complete this higher time frame correction and this lower time frame continuation give me a good bearish confluence, then certainly looking for this is ideal. We're at the top of the overall structure. So lots of room to the downside, lots of room. You don't have to worry even if you don't get in this. There's certainly more correction to get in, right? So that is euro dollar. Let's look at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is also one of my favorite dollar pairs to look for a possible long. So let's look at dollar CAD here. Mentioned about dollar CAD when we're forming this correction here. So finally looks like we're pushing up now. There was a small correction once we broke out, which is exactly what I was looking for. And now we're expecting the next bullish run, right? We've been pushing down all this much already. This is that double bottom on a higher time frame. So price is certainly reacting to that higher time frame, double bottom, sorry, double bottom area, and then looking like we can have a potential reversal. So lower time frame wise, we have this correction, and now it looks like this is that continuation correction now. So look for this correction to complete. We don't know how long and how deep this will go, but looks like it's forming a structure here. So expect the next bullish push up. Okay, so there's going to be many lower time frame correction in my opinion. Looks like this is going to be the one of the first that's going to come in the upcoming days or week. So certainly another dollar pair that's looking really clean. So dollar CAD, euro dollar looks all good. I usually don't focus on dollar Swiss, but it looks like dollar Swiss could have something here. I do like dollar Swiss kind of price action. Now we broke out of this reversal correction. It's very similar like dollar index, right? Some of the dollar pairs usually move faster, and some dollar pairs move a little bit slower. And I think dollar Swiss here looks like it's finally having that bullish breakout. So we have this inverse head and shoulder, right? This is a right shoulder clearly, so a continuation correction for this move. So an impulse correction, we impulse out of this reversal correction, which is great. So I will be looking for some sort of continuation to push the price higher. Definitely seeing that where we are now on the higher time frame, we broke this kind of previous low. Again, we have a correction, we pushed down, but there was no continuation to push down more. So this could be that first sign of a reversal. So lower time frame is going to give us a little bit more clarity, a little bit more confirmation if we're going to look for a potential long on this. But if you look at this, if you zoom out a little bit, we've been seeing similar dollar kind of move, right? We've been seeing the dollar decline, but most of the dollar pair is actually shaping up for a potential buy, right? We're looking like all these bullish reversal that's happening. They may or may not all break out of that reversal correction that they're in. Some, like I said, some is faster, some is slower, but I do see most of them is getting that strength coming in. Inverse head and shoulder, yeah. Hey, Johanna, nice to see you. So yeah, that's what I see on dollar Swiss. Any question, let me know. Let's continue onwards. Let's talk about dollar yen. So I'm in dollar yen. It's the only position I'm in right now, except Bitcoin. I'm also in Bitcoin, but in terms of position-wise, dollar yen is the only one I'm in. We've been talking about this since the price is still within the structure, within this kind of descending channel. I already kind of talked about this is going to be the move that is very likely to happen. We formed this inverse head and shoulder as well. There was a correction here to correct, so an inverse head and shoulder, and then price popped to the upside, right? Pretty much exactly what we have been looking at. So this is all good. We have a bullish push to the upside, and I mentioned about looking for lower time frame continuation, right? We broke out this higher time frame correction, and I mention all the time, don't jump into a trade just because it broke out of some trend lines, right? We talk about we need to look for confirmation. This is a confirmation I have, so a continuation correction. So I just set an entry order, set a pretty reasonable stop loss. I'm fine with a wider stop loss. I'm fine with in this case because I see the risk reward. I see even just to the top of this correction here, I'm getting about almost 5 to 1. But ultimately, you can expect this push all the way to the top of this correction. So that will be almost 8 or 9 to 1, whatever. I didn't really calculate it. But first thing first is to reach this top of the structure here. So I'm fine with this position. I'm fine with the stop loss I chose. So it looks like it's kind of popping to the upside now. If we see more bullish push to the upside, I'll just set it to break even, and then we'll see how the price move. But I really like how we broke out of this long-term descending channel. It's a period of consolidation. Clearly, we have this inverse head and shoulder, and then we have an impulse correction impulse. Small correction here, so this is likely to continue upwards. And from a higher time frame, we know that we're still in this long-term kind of parallel channel from correcting this move, but you can see that if this is an impulse and this is just a long period correction, really expect the next impulse, right? This is how the price moves, and we finally have lower time frame and higher time frame on the same page. This is why multi-time frame analysis is so important. We see higher time frame bias, and then we go down to lower time frame for confirmation, right? So that is my position here. Looking forward to see how the price will move in upcoming days or week, but looks very clean because this is a clear breakout, right? Euro Kiwi, yeah, I'll take a look at Euro Kiwi after. I do see Euro Kiwi is very likely to be bullish as well. So that's all. Yep. Okay. Any question? Let me know. Let's continue, guys. Continue on to a few Aussie pairs. Few Aussie pairs that I've been talking about again throughout the streams, right? We've been talking about Aussie, most of the Aussie pairs as well, and this correction here after this kind of push down, still I know this is rather very swingy, but we're still seeing that downtrend, right? We're still seeing the downtrend. I think some of you guys may got in this, maybe holding it. So look to see what the price will do when it hit this bottom. We're approaching to this bottom now, so I don't recommend looking for a sell here. Preferably is break this previous low and then more correction to come. I think this is going to be the safer entry. Um, I look to see what the price will do. Yeah, I the only thing kind of holding me off since this correction here is just this kind of swinging kind of price action. It's still moving down nevertheless, but I don't really like to see price is kind of swinging like this, right? It's really this is also a reason why I'm not trading pound dollar or a few pound pairs because of its previous kind of erratic price action. That's just kind of how I distinguish itself from jumping into these, right? You see how pound dollar that I think every stream some of you guys ask me about what I think about pound dollar, and all this previous price action is throwing me off because the downside is just not continue, right? And you see this latest bit of the price. It's the same thing, right? It's the price trying to push down. We obviously have a strong bearish bias. This is clearly a correction, right? This is clearly a consolidation phase. We're expecting this move to go down, but all this price is kind of throwing me off, right? I'd rather wait for a bearish confirmation breakout and then continue downwards. I'm fine missing the profit here, but I will get the profit down, right? This is a key difference is um, I don't have FOMO, right? I don't have fear of missing out. I don't expect this to drop like this anyways, right? I don't mind missing profit here, but if I could get in with a better entry, better risk reward, a safer one, that's fine with me. Okay, that's really the difference. Okay, so went over Aussie CAD. Let's talk about Aussie Swiss. So if you guys recall, I was in Aussie Swiss or what in the Aussie Swiss trade. Got out for about 2%. I didn't like this pullback that happened at the time. There was like a descending channel on a lower time frame, but looks like what's happening here is just another correction, right? We see this kind of price action before. We know that once we broke out of this ascending channel, there's expected to be a correction. So we had a correction. This was my entry, and then we pushed down, but I didn't want to hold back a deeper pullback, and that's why I exit for 2% profit. But it looks like we're just forming another continuation, right? Continuation to correct this move, and we're still going to expect this move to continue. So if you're holding the trade, good, because this looks like it's going to be a continuation now. So if we just break out, then expect this push to all the way down to the beginning of this correction here, and then kind of reevaluate to see where the next, if we have enough momentum to continue. Okay, so I certainly do see this as very bearish now, right? We broke out here, there's correction, we push down, and we have another correction. So it's looking very clean. It's not going as impulsive, but it's still following the basic understanding of how the price should move. Okay, so I still like this. I still expect this as well. It's very similar like Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie, very similar price action like Aussie Swiss in this example here. Okay. Hey, hope I USY. Hope I pronounce Ashi, or how do I pronounce that? I hope that's right. So let's continue. Let's continue to a few other ones. Aussie yen. Aussie yen. Some of you guys asked me about. I still like Aussie yen. Okay, I think someone asked me privately on this as well. We look at this on higher time frame, right? We know higher time frame. We're sitting at that potential double top area, so price is rather corrective this, but be a little bit more careful, because if we just look at this last piece of the price, if this is a impulsive phrase and this is a corrective phrase, this certainly has potential to continue, right? That's always something I keep an eye on. But on the lower time frame here in this expanding structure, this move can be kind of put it as ascending kind of channel, right? Ascending structure. Remember, I took a few trades here, all result in break even at the end. I didn't like this last bit of the price here. It's again very swinging, right? Very similar like Aussie Kata we just went over. Is there trying to be a structure here? It's very hard to determine at this point. So I think the best bet here is wait for a clear kind of bearish lower time frame impulsive phrase to happen and continuation to follow. Again, you don't need to get FOMO and miss thinking that you're going to miss profit here. There's still a lot of price to be made if we get the confirmation from the market. Okay, and if we really have that bearish move to break out, then there's still more move to down, right? So that is always my mindset, right? I don't need to worry about trying to catch every single move, right? I just need to capture the very good one, the valid one, the higher probability one, right? That's going to be make you more consistent in the market. So right now, to me, is not too much in this area. Okay, I want to see just a little bit more development. That's going to give me confirmation for a potential sell out of this higher time frame correction here. So let's continue. Let's continue here. So let's look at CAD yen here. Let's look at CAD yen. Higher time frame wise, we're in this overall kind of structure here, right? We have these highs here that where price is pretty much reacting to. We look up to the lower time frame here. I was looking for these. Remember when price was in this area, we had a few shorts down here. There was a pretty clear ascending channel, and they had a shoulder pattern to push the price down. Where we are now at the price, price is clearly reacting to this previous high. You can see this as a double top or a triple top. Whatever it is, price is clearly finding out or reacting to it, because this is forming a correction here. And as this correction form more and more and more, right, it's more looking as a expanding structure. I talk about expanding structure is a little bit more advanced because they can go either way. They're not the usual ones that we usually see in the market. Like when we see ascending channel, they're usually going to be a reversal. Whereas like expanding structure can go both way. It can continuation or it can be a reversal. But in this case, combining what we see on the higher time frame, combining what we see overall price action, we're at the top of the overall price action. And it looks like we can forming a larger kind of an M style pattern and double top here or triple top. All that is kind of leading towards for me to have a bias for a sell. My approach again is waiting for this larger correction to finish because this can just move down here and then just take off. And then, looking for a short here is not ideal in my opinion. I would rather for it to break this previous low and for more correction to push down, right? That's the nature of how the price moves. And we can certainly have a better entry here if we're looking for a short sell from this point forward. All right, so wait for this correction to finish. I don't think it's finished yet. This can just stretch its on indefinitely as well. That's also a possibility. Right? We understand correction, we understand structure. They can go on forever. They can continue to evolve. So don't try to speculate when the correction will finish. Just let the correction complete first, and then look for that confirmation bias for that sell. Uh, it will already discussed dollar cat. I did talk about dollar cat. Yes, dollar cat. I'm still very bullish. Right, I'm talking about price broke out this descending channel. We had a popular upside. Looks like we're forming a correction. So certainly a continuation upwards is possible. Euro dollar, yeah, euro dollar. I'm just expecting the bearish run, right? We've been talking about this since the top already. I wasn't interested in this, but I will be interested once we break off, followed by a continuation correction. It's not that these cells are not good. These cells are actually all pushing down now. So if you get in on these cells that I've been talking about in my streams, good. It's just how I filter the trades or how I decide on which entries I do. Um, I could enter on top of these, but I think I'd rather enter this because of this whole higher time frame structure. Okay, as you get lower and lower to the bottom here, the trade is not as appealing, right? Because price can just bounce up, and that's the nature of the price, right? Nothing wrong with that because we know the correction isn't finished if it's going to bounce up like this indefinitely, right? So waiting for the breakout is just going to be the confirmation that you need to be looking for further downside. Okay. I'll talk about crypto after Cobra. It's gonna be a while because I have lots of market to go over. So bear with me if you okay. We're gonna go finish the currency market first. So Euro Aussie, very similar like Aussie Swiss I mentioned, right? We had this kind of descending channel, clearly a reversal structure. This is not a continuation. Double bottom, popular upside, look for continuation, right? There's a continuation correction here. We push up more, great, right? This is expecting to continue. So all these correction that's forming is just helping the price to build up the next impulsive phrase. Okay, so I would be waiting for to see this bit of price. I want to see at least price break this previous high, kind of the swing high area. I didn't want to see a more consolidation like this. Then that's going to lead into me that this can be a larger continuation for all this. But right now we're not seeing that. Right now we're just seeing lower time frame kind of bullish price action, which is what I want to see for this move to continue. Okay, so higher time frame wise, we know we're potentially sitting at this previous swing low area. So this can be a double bottom here. We've moved down quite impulsively already, so expect at least some sort of pullback if this is going to continue. But this is the first sign of a potential pullback in my opinion. So that is Euro Aussie. I definitely do like Euro Aussie and Aussie Swiss. I think they both have potential. But again, obviously, I'm going to choose one only out of the two if they shape up to a potential buy for Euro Aussie and potential sell for Aussie Swiss. Hey Matt, how's it going? So let's continue to Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi, sorry, let me find Euro Kiwi. So What I see on Euro Kiwi, I think Euro Aussie has slightly better price action. Okay, and this is again how I filter out trade if they're the same pair or whatever. Um, Euro Aussie had clearly a bullish run, right? A bullish push upside, right? This is clearly a bullish push, correction, bullish push. I just haven't seen that in Euro Kiwi. I'm not seeing that yet, right? This is still kind of in the correction, still in the consolidation. I'm not seeing any strong bullish push followed by a continuation. This is why I'm still hesitate on this one. I would wait for, a clear bullish breakout from this current structure, and then that's going to be a lot more confirmation for me. Right now, it still looks like it's in a corrective phase, and I don't want to trade when price is in a corrective phase, right? I mentioned this all the time because when price is correcting, you're likely to not go anywhere, right? But when the price is finished correcting, you're going to see the impulsive phase, right? This is always what I'm trying to tell everyone is that you want to enter when price is in the impulsive phase, right? We don't want to enter when it's all in the corrective phase because it's not going there too much. Sure that it's moving up and down, but we want to be in the impulsive phase, right? That's really the difference of it. So waiting for this correction to complete is very ideal, right? And then look for the next impulsive phase. I think that's it. I'm not seeing too much other things, unless you guys have some other currency you want me to take a look. Some of the currency pairs that you guys are looking at for this upcoming 24, 48 hours. I like Kiwi Swiss. I didn't talk about this. Let's briefly talk about it. Looks like we're in this kind of ascending kind of structure. I was originally looking for a sell if we can break out of this structure, right? And price didn't break out, price didn't continue, and that's why I'm not too interested in it. But it looks like we can still see this structure for me, right? We have a price to, even though we popped to the upside, but we're still within this structure, right? We're still within this higher time frame structure, so I can still have a bias for that potential sell as long as price doesn't, break out of the structure impulsively. If it's still in this area, if it's still in this larger correction, it can still be in this corrective phase that we can still expect a bearish move as long as that develops, right? And we don't force trade, we don't try to enter trades. This is also a prime example. We don't just enter at some trend line that break out, right? If it's going to break out, I'm looking for a lower time frame continuation. If I don't see that, then there is no trade for me. All right. So that's Kiwi Swiss, guys. Any pairs you want me to take a look at currency? If not, I'm going to jump into the other markets. Pound yen. Yeah, I didn't go over pound yen. Again, I wasn't too interested in it. I know we talk about this, I think, in the weekly outlook. What I ultimately want to see is this part of the price. Um, this part of the price to complete, right? This looks like it's ascending channel. Don't let this part fool you, right? I talk about this in the weekly outlook. If this doesn't continue upwards and upwards, then expect this is the end of this ascending channel. Then this likely bearish move to happen. It's very likable. Um, I do obviously ultimately expect this bearish impulse to happen, right? We've seen that happen over and over again in the market, right? We know that's the tendency of the market to move after a larger correction. I do expect that to happen. It's just that it doesn't look like it's happening now. And I don't need to force it upon me, right? I don't need to be like, okay, I'm seeing potential reversal now. Okay, we do see head and shoulder. Don't get me wrong. This is clearly a head and shoulder. This is on the top of the overall price, which is good, right? But I want a little bit more confirmation. I don't want to just short here. Okay, you could be looking for a short if it breaks down followed by lower time frame continuation. That's one possibility. Or the second possibility is waiting for a breakout from this ascending channel, and this is an entry here. Or if you want to be as safe as possible, then wait for wait for price to actually complete this overall structure and continue, right? So it's all about your perspective and what you see in trading. Entering at the top obviously is the riskiest, but the most reward, right? It's always whatever we do, it's a double-edged sword, right? I talk about this all the time. Everything we do in trading is double edged. You want to enter at the highest, it's going to be the riskiest, but the most reward. You want to enter at the middle, less reward, but less risky. You want to enter from the bottom, least reward, but the safest entry, right? So same idea in this sense, whatever we do. Pound CAD. Pound CAD. Yeah, I think there's a reason why I'm not interested in pound CAD. It's the same as Euro CAD that I'm not interested in. Talk about this. There's a little bit erratic price action throughout this. Pound CAD to me is the same. I'm not really seeing too much. All I'm seeing is this is a potential impulse, correction impulse. That's pretty much all I see. But if I zoom out of here, I'm not really seeing much. I'm not really seeing much at all. Even if I go on higher time frame, it looks like we're just in the middle of all this, middle of nowhere, so to speak. Like that's how I would usually say. So I'm not too interested. I think there's better cat pairs if you're looking for. And again, pound pairs for me is I'm kind of just avoiding them because of the latest bit of the price and things like that. But all I see right now from pound cat is impulse correction, impulse. Is there going to be more correction here? I'm not sure. I don't really like it. I'm not going to trade just based on this piece of the price action. I talk about multi-time frame analysis, top-down approach. I'm not seeing that on this one here. Okay. Do I see the dollar has bottom and it's going to gain strength now? Yeah, that's at least that's my bias, right? That's my bias on the view on the pair on the market. I do expect dollar to get strength coming in, in the time. We'll see though, right? We don't just blindly jump into trades, as I always mention, is waiting for a little bit more confirmation on most of these dollar pairs. So my favorite ones I point out already. Aussie dollar looks nice, right? Aussie dollar looks nice. Euro dollar certainly one of my favorite to be looking for sell. Dollar CAD is good. Dollar CAD is breaking out. Dollar yen I'm in, right? And most of the dollar pairs are going to look very, very clean for that continuation. So, okay. So that's all the currency pair, guys. So I'm going to jump into other markets now if you guys don't have questions. Yeah, I just went over dollar index in the beginning, right? So I'm just looking at it as potential bullish to happen in this area. We see this inverse head and shoulder pattern. We're potentially breaking out. Again, breaking out doesn't mean much. I want a clear kind of confirmation correction to continue upwards. That is what I see on dollar index. This last bit of the price is important. Okay. I will check the US. I will check all the indices after. Okay, Ma. So give me a second. I'll go over commodities and I'll check indices after. All right, so let's continue if no question here. Let's go over commodities really quick. So I made a post about silver. I'm not making this post because somebody said silver is going on. I'm not really caring about all that stuff going on social media. I just wrote this because of what I see. I want to talk about silver because we're just looking at technical perspective, right? We're not looking at what people are saying about all that short squeeze. We're just looking at it purely from technical point now. So what I see here on silver is we've seen this kind of things over and over again in the market, right? You have a incline of the price, and then price slowly drop down, drop down, drop down. There's a period of consolidation, and then eventually prices rise up. We've seen this on Bitcoin, we've seen this on oil, we've seen this on pretty much any market, and it's the same here, right? Um, Price reach all the way up to this highest point, like $50 or something, and we're slowly in a decline, right? And this last bit of the price here on a weekly, on a long-term approach since 2014, this is just a long period of consolidation. If you really look at it, this is not going much anywhere. But what is happening, what it's showing us is that we're finding a bottom here, right? We're clearly finding a bottom. I don't say this as a support. I say it was a double bottom or triple bottom, and whatever it is, price is not going lower. There's a few reasons, fundamental reasons. I usually don't go into fundamental, but my point on here is the production of silver cannot go lower than this. This is pretty much is what's telling you is that there's production costs associated with silver, right? There is all the labor, all the overhead costs, whatever, right? There's a lot of costs associated per ounce of silver, and there's inflation. It just cannot go lower. Back in these, early 2000, it was actually much lower in like $10 or so. And again, price did not get pushed lower because the production of the silver needs to make sense. Otherwise, there's really no point of even making silver, right? No one's making money off making silver, and there's no point being the silver industry. So price has to rebound or at least to gain in order to be profitable for companies to continue production of silver, right? And that really pretty much leads into this kind of bullish run. I don't expect that to happen like that fast, but I do expect something to happen very soon. We have this bottom out. We do have all these correction, nevertheless, right? This is a reversal correction. We have a strong impulse. We've continuation correction right back to the bottom. Impulse, correction, impulse. And then if there was not coronavirus, this correction here looks like it was supposed to be the one that's going to take off. But COVID happened, we see the price drop right back to that previous low again, and then strong, sharp impulse to the upside, right? So this leads to me believe that if there is a continuation correction here, which is kind of what we're looking at now, who knows how long this can be, but if this is a continuation correction for this bullish move, then expect continuation afterwards. Okay, it's very simple. We've seen this kind of price over and over again in the market, right? So it's all about how to capitalize on it when you see it in a live market condition, all right? So that is my approach on silver for long-term wise. Okay, long-term approach. If we see a continuation correction here, and then expect the next push-up, right? This won't happen in a day or two, right? This will happen in month or year, right? Yeah, I will go over dollar index for that after. I already went over the US dollar index. Sorry, I already went over dollar index, buddy, a couple times already. I will go over the indices after. So that's what I see on silver, and let's go over gold, because gold is the same idea, okay? Same idea on the higher time frame. Pretty much talk about this every single stream. Every single stream I'm saying that it's not ready for a buy yet because this correction doesn't seem like it's finished. If we go down to the lower time frame here, this is that kind of continuation I point out, right? I point out this continuation, I think my weekly outlook 2 days ago or a day ago. This looks like it's a sharp bearish impulse. This looks like it's a continuation correction in the making, right? It looks very clear. So expect this move to get pushed down and then reevaluate to see if we're going to get reversal bullish price action to continue upwards. I still have a strong bias to think that this is going to be a continuation phrase, a continuation correction to correct all this move, and we're likely to see the next bullish run. Okay, but again, confirmation, right? I don't blindly jump in here hoping it's going to go off or not, or I'm not looking for a sell either. I mentioned this pretty much all the time as well. Yes, the sell is likely to happen, and the sell is probable. It's a valid setup, but I'm looking at it from a higher time frame approach. I want my higher time frame bias matches my lower time frame bias. That's always what I enter or look for entries, right? It's not that this short sell won't go. It's within my plan to always make sure my different time frame is going to have the same bias. That eliminates mediocre setups. Focus on higher probability setups. Okay, so that is gold. That is what I see on gold right now. Any question on these commodities, guys, before I jump into the indices after? Not seeing much too else on these ones. Sugar. I remember I was in the sugar trade, but I'm out now. But looks like we're continue. So I will be looking for something if we get that. Looks like we continue this correction here. We're popping to the upside now. This is all good. Now I want to see if we can just break this previous high now. When I start seeing price forming these deeper correction, remember I talked about I exited somewhere here. I exited somewhere here. Once I see this kind of potential head and shoulder in the making, I didn't want to hold through a deeper pullback. And then at the time, I don't know how long or how deep the structure can go. This can trickle all the way back to my entry. I didn't want to lose profit. So I'm fine with exiting for 2% or 2 to 1 profit. I remember, and our approach now is waiting to see price to break this high and then continue upwards. Okay. Pound dollar. I wasn't interested in pound dollar. Okay, I know we talk about pound dollar all the time, but I'm not too interested while the price is in this last bit of consolidation. I really don't like it. It's the same as what we've seen in the past. We're still in a larger, deeper correction. This is clearly a correction that we're in, and all the shorts that we've been seeing, they're just not going down. So I'm not interested in entering any short while we're in this larger correction. I will wait for the price to break off, followed by continuation. It's the same as euro dollar, but euro dollar moves a lot better, right? This is clearly trending rather than pound dollar, who is not trending. Okay, that's the big difference, guys. I'm trying to always pass on this to everyone is that when you're looking at the same pair, like same, if you're looking at the dollar pairs, when you have to choose among them, you need to filter out the mediocre ones and the good one. And when I say mediocre, I don't mean that this won't happen. This is very likely to happen. Is this when you're looking at the current price condition before the bearish move happened, which one you ought to choose, right? Which one do you rather choose this period of consolidation, or would you try to choose this is more trending, that is giving you a little bit more bias, a little bit better confirmation for the sell? Okay, so many new traders, what I see them is they're going to take every single trade that they see. This may work out if the trade goes in their favor, and this is going to be a disaster if it doesn't go in their favor, right? You have multiple dollar pairs open. Okay, if it's going in your favor, great, you're making profit. But if it's not, you're also losing quantitatively, right? You're losing on multiple trades, and that's why filtering all the trades, choosing one or two the best out of among them is always going to be better risk management for you in the long run, right? So let's continue. If no question on commodities, I went over silver, gold, and sugar. No question. Let's jump into the indices. Okay, the indices are moving up, right? Okay, so this is again very prime example of don't jump into these cells, right? This is I still get these questions. They're like, "Hey, I enter at the cell." I'm like, I never mentioned about entering at the cell just because it break out the trend line, right? I always said when it breaks out, you need last bit of confirmation to get in. If you don't see a continuation, don't jump in the trade, right? And this is prime example of how the market punish the people who have fear of missing out, right? When you start trading, when you start journaling the trades, you need to capture yourself avoiding these kind of situations. Yes, price breaks out, but there's no continuation. This is a prime example of don't jump the gun, don't get fear of missing out. Market punish the people who do that. Okay, so I still have a strong belief of all the indices. I still have a belief that we can get into a bearish move. But looking at all this right now, obviously put me off, right? And this is why there's no trade for me, right? No trade for me, no ego for me to be right. This is just simple as how the market tells you, yeah, we didn't break out this correction. This correction is not finished. This can just move up more and then potentially still drop down. So right now, no trade for me. I'm just going to be on a sideline for most of these indices, not looking to buy or sell while it's in this area. Um, we'll see if price continue upwards to the top here. And if there's more bearish reversal, then potentially looking for setups. But while it's in this phrase now, while it's in this kind of price, really there's no entry here, guys. There's no buy entry, there's no sell entry. It's kind of telling you that we're gonna be in the consolidation again. So be on the sideline for these ones. All right. Yeah. So moving on, S&P 500, same idea, right? You see how they all pull this on most of the people. So for those people who got in, that's a lesson to be made, right? Don't feel ashamed or depressed if you're a beginner learner, you enter these cells and it didn't work out for you. That should be a huge learning curve and should be a huge lesson to learn is, again, don't jump in the trade just because it broke some trend lines, right? I mentioned this many times. The trend lines doesn't mean much, right? It's here to tell us there is a correction, there's a consolidation phrase, but doesn't mean that just because it break out automatically is an automatic sell, right? You have to understand that, right? It's not, right? Structurally, it's still a correction structure. Nothing changes. Just because it break all of the trend line and doesn't continue doesn't void this correction, right? All you do is you telling yourself, yeah, correction is expanding, it didn't break out. Nothing changes. This is still a ascending channel correction. We see the push move to the upside, see what the price will do at the top. Is it going to reverse? If not, then if this is going to fall into a bullish move, then let it break out completely and let it form continuation, right? And that's going to void my bias on a potential sell. Then that's going to give me bias for a potential long, right? But until you see that, until I see that, I still see this as a corrective structure. We can still expect something like this and then continue downwards. That is key, guys. It's all about not married to your analysis. I think a lot of people, at least beginner ones, are married to their analysis. They're like, okay, if this doesn't sell out, I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. My analysis doesn't work. That's not how trading is, guys. You make forecasts of the potential opportunities and you make sure there's confirmation for you to look for before you enter. If that doesn't happen, there's no trade for you. You don't need to be right all the time, right? You don't need to have an ego when it comes to trading. Like most people have egos, especially in trading, they must be right. And that's their downfall of it, right? So eliminate the emotion, eliminate your ego, let the price come to you, right? You have a plan to potential look for a sell. If that doesn't happen, what is your contingency plan? What is your backup plan? What is your move if this is going to pop to the upside? Are you going to panic now? Are you going to start buying or selling? Make sure you have a plan before it happens because when you don't have a plan, you're just going to make emotional decisions and that's going to help you that's not going to help you in the trading, right? Once you start making emotional decisions, you're just randomly entering trades now. That's kind of how a lot of people blow their account. That's kind of how people just over trade, revenge trade, over leverage trade, and again blowing their account and then losing a lot of money in no time. All right, so that's always what I'm going to try to emphasize on everyone. I hope that teaches people in that sense. So moving on to Nasdaq, again, same idea, right? Same thing. You see this, right? Break the trend line, did not continue, uh, right back into this correction now. So if you expand the correction, nothing changes, still correcting, still correcting, still correcting. See what the price will do when we reach this top. See if we're gonna have reversals, right? If it doesn't, same idea, same approach as S&P. If this is going to be a bullish push to the upside now, my plan is wait for a bullish push to the upside, wait for a confirmation bullish continuation, then potentially looking for a buy, right? But if that doesn't happen, then I'm still holding a bias for a short, just waiting to see what will happen in this area. Okay, so that is really the my approach on most of these. Okay, I don't need to be right, guys. I don't need to be right if it doesn't play out because there's no confirmation. So I move on to other pairs, move on to other opportunities, and I will still observe this on the sideline. Right? I don't need to be like, okay, this doesn't work out for me. I'm just going to avoid this pair or avoid this market now. And then when you look back at it, this forms a double top and just start dropping, and you hate yourself why you didn't, go back to this and take a look. All right. So that is Nasdaq. Any other question on the indices, guys? I'm happy to answer some questions on them. Great advice. Yeah, trainer wheels. That is always what I'm trying to tell everyone. Because I've been through all this, because I've been through all the ups and downs of trading, so try to provide as much value I can from my personal experience. Because I certainly, obviously, entered sales like this way in my beginning of my career, right? Way beginning of my trading career. Of course, I had fear of missing out, right? Everyone have fear of missing out when you trade, right? When you're in the beginning stage of trading, everybody experience. So for those people who tell you they're guru that they don't do that, that's all a lie, right? Everybody learn mistakes. I myself included. I took trades here when the trend line broke out, and I expect this to fall because I have fear of missing out. But what the market does, it punishes me, right? It punishes me when you do that, and this is why when you do that, you must. I emphasize you must journal your trades, right? You must journal all your trades down so that when you look back at these, you're like, did I enter these? Did I enter too early? Was there more things I could do to prevent me to take a loss in this sense? And when you start digging into deeper, you understand how the market moves, is that we need to see continuation corrections, right? We know the market only moves in two phrases, right? We only move in impulsive, we're only in corrective. That is how the market moves. Doesn't matter what time frame, what market, right? We talk about this all the time. This is a corrective phrase, right? This is a corrective phrase, right? This is an impulsive phrase to upside, right? There's a big difference of it. This is a corrective phrase. This is an impulsive phrase, right? This is an impulsive phrase. This is a corrective phrase. This is a corrective phrase that we're still in. So you have to identify which phrase the market is in on the higher time frame. And if you go down to the lower time frame, look for the same kind of opportunity, same price action to continue. If that doesn't happen, then no trade for me, no trade for us, and we move on to other things. There's a US 30 in a clear bullish in a larger time frame. Um, I personally don't see it as a bullish personally. I see this as a potential double top in the area. This is all-time high before COVID happened, right? COVID happened, we recover, but this looks like a come over more of an expanding structure, so to speak. So a larger expanding structure. This last bit of the price is not a continuation, right? You just have to understand that when we look at the price, this is an impulsive phrase, clearly. This is not, right? This is a corrective phrase. This is impulsive phrase. This is corrective phrase. This is impulsive phrase. This is corrective phrase, right? This is a corrective phrase. This is an impulsive phrase, right? You just have to distinguish the two to understand what the market is telling you. All this that's showing you here, even though all these move, this is still a corrective phrase, right? I'm still expecting a bearish impulsive phrase to happen when it happens, right? We're not seeing that yet, so be on the sideline for this. But when I start seeing this piece of the price start forming as more of a ascending kind of channel, this shows to me that this impulse is not likely to continue, rather it's likely to reverse. Right? We understand followed by an impulsive phrase. Usually there's continuation, right? Usually there's continuation to continue, but sometimes you're going to get reversals. Okay, so do a little bit more back testing, do a little bit more chart work. You'll see what I mean. Because when you start seeing them everywhere in the market, it will just come to you second nature. When you see the same setup, when you see the same price action to develop, you know that that's what the market is telling you here. All right, so that's why what I take on most of these U.S. indices. I still have a bias for bearish run, okay, but let's see what happens here. Right, I don't want to blindly jump into it. want to see what price will do in this latest bit of the price action here. Hey, you're welcome, by the way. So no question here. I'm gonna jump into crypto last. If no question here on the US indices, I'm gonna continue to crypto. So UK 100, yeah. So I didn't look at UK 100 for a bit, but remember when this priced up to the upside, I mentioned if there's no continuation correction, expect this to fall. I think I said this maybe yeah, since beginning of January. I didn't look back at this for a while, but I recall I mentioned if this wasn't going to continue, expect this to fall, right? So this is pretty much what we're seeing here. I'm not trying to connect the lines, but I just see that this can just be a potential head and shoulder that's going to be making, right? This can pull back here, make a right shoulder, and start dropping, right? So I don't see any bullish price action here. I see this is just rather very corrective, right? This whole last bit of the price. After you see an impulsive phrase, you're supposed to see correct continuation. Sure, you can see this as you can classify this as a continuation, but after that, there's really no more continuation afterwards, right? This last bit of the price is not going anywhere. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere, right? We're not seeing strong impulsive phrase like this, right? We're not even seeing corrective, like this is very clear corrective phrase for the up move, right? But this last bit of the price is a little bit erratic. It's not even forming a structure. I want to say that it could form this head and shoulder. That is pretty much all I see right now. Forming head and shoulder at this previous top, so a double top formation, is good, is valid, but I'm not seeing more confirmation yet. Okay. So that's going to crypto. So crypto, yeah. So that's going to Bitcoin. Still holding Bitcoin. Still looking at what the price will do on this last bit of the price. We're kind of seeing this potential bullish right breakout. I think there was some news here, maybe because of Elon Musk. I saw this Elon Musk tweet Bitcoin on his profile page. Maybe that's the surge, and then people are worried because this is going to be a pump and dump. Honestly, you just have to look at it from a price action point of view. I mentioned this many times is that when you see a strong bullish push to upside, and then you see a larger kind of consolidation in the making, this is all good signs, right? This is clearly a bullish run. This is clearly a bullish continuation correction. Okay, so when you identify these structures, when you properly see them over and over again in the market, it will give you more confidence to look for a setup or to get into these setups because that is what the price do when it moves, right? You have to understand a strong push to the upside followed by a deeper consolidation is leading towards the next bullish run, right? We talk about this on gold as well. We talk about this on silver. Talk about this on the yen, a dollar yen, that's trend I'm in as well. So same approach here. I see two possible scenarios. If this is going to continue now, so expect this to just get pushed up and then lower time frame continuation, and we're just going to go on to the next highs or the all-time high here. The unlikely scenario is we make another corrective move to the downside, and structurally looks like we're just potentially expanding into something like this, and then we push down once more and then resume the uptrend, right? So there's a few possibilities. So make sure you forecast a few possibilities so you don't panic when it happens, right? Why I do this so that I remove my emotion out of the way. If this move is down, no problem. I'm holding the trade because I talk about this is not. I don't enter Bitcoin to day trade. I enter as an investment. Right? I'm holding this for long term. Right? So I don't care if it moves down here. I don't care about that because that will make me complete this higher time frame structure, and we're still going off after. And I'm fine holding that, and I'm fine seeing the Bitcoin drop like this. But if I don't see that, if we price just continue upwards, then maybe this is all the correction we need to correct all this move. Then expect this to break above this previous high and then continue upwards to the next high and onwards and so. Okay, so always have a plan. Always make sure you have a plan before you enter. And if you're in the trade, make sure you have management plan, you have contingency plans so that you don't panic, you don't get emotional when it happens, right? Remove your emotion is key in trading. This is how you be more consistent and successful in trading is when you remove emotion from it. I know it's hard because we're human beings, right? We are human beings, we're emotional animals, but in trading, you have to eliminate emotion. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere because you're when you take trades, when you exit trade, when they're based on emotion, you're just gonna get more frustrated because you're gonna, why did I enter so low? Why did I sell so high? Whatever it is, you have so many reasons to doubt yourself or to blame yourself. But if you have a plan, you write them down and you follow the plan correctly, you won't get emotion. Right? You can of course adjust your plan as time goes on, right? As you do more journaling, as you finding out more, you can adjust your plan, but you shouldn't deviate from your plan. And that's all I'm trying to say. If you deviate from your plan, when you start making your own emotional decisions, uh, it's going to be very, very tough for you in trading. Okay. So any question on this before I jump into other ones? I do want to talk about Stellar. So I'm really looking at Stellar for potential opportunity now. I was in Stellar a few of these trades, if you guys recall. Um, I was in Stellar, sorry, and looks they didn't go much and form a deeper correction, a deeper consolidation, but we're seeing a surge right now, right? We're seeing a strong surge to the upside, which is all good. What I want to see ultimately is this is going to be a correction because this was a period of consolidation. We finally have a bullish push to the upside. Looks like this is correcting. This is forming something here in the making. I want to see from a higher time frame perspective, can we continue upwards, right? I ultimately want to see price break the previous high, right? We want to see price break the previous high and then continue upwards. That is what I want to see. Okay, so all this period now is leaning towards for me to believe that we're going to see the next bullish run. Okay, so you can see price was way higher before, and it's likely to continue much higher too. We understand where we are right now in the price. We understand that this kind of scoop formation, it's all everywhere in the market, right? We have a initial incline, and then we decline, and then we have a period of long kind of consolidation before the next up move that's going to happen. Seen this in Bitcoin, seen this in everywhere as well, right? If we look at Bitcoin, same idea here, right? Just different story. They're faster, right? Bitcoin had this initial incline. We have a big decline, so a period consolidation, and then we finally have an impulsive phrase, corrective phrase, impulse correction, impulse, all of that all-time high area, and then we just take off afterwards. So it's the same kind of market cycle, same kind of approach on most of these cryptos as well. Okay, so I definitely see that be a good long-term hold or long-term kind of investment on most of the crypto, as long as you understand that you're in this to hold, you're not in here to trade like couple of days you're trying to get out. Okay, that's the difference of it. Okay. Someone asked about Ripple. I can go over Ripple. I didn't like all that kind of this kind of price action here, right? Originally, when I see this latest bit of the price, it looks nice, right? We have a push up, we have a correction, we push up once again. And it looks like it kind of just exploded to the upside and then sharp decline like this, right? Uh, let's remove all those emotional things out of the way. But what is this telling you? Well, what is telling you is that this is not pushing up yet, right? We didn't break all those highs. We didn't break this previous high that the price reacted to. Okay, so this pushes down. So from a higher time frame perspective, I'm not really interested. You see this bit of the price is pretty, I would say ugly, right? This is not really good, clean price action that I will be looking for. When we push up from here, back in the day, this was looking good for a continuation. But after that, all this SEC news came in and all this, it kind of throws me off on a potential trade on Ripple here, okay? Of course, Ripple has been much higher, which is great, but we're this last bit of the price is not really clean, and I'm not really finding any entries or potentials on this, okay? Someone asked about Link, right? So I finally got to Link. My apologies. Um, let's zoom out here on Link. This was like all-time high here, right? There was a bunch of setup here, and then again a sharp decline, a period of consolidations, finally leading to a bullish push continuation. We popped to the upside now. This is all good because we kind of talk about this. We want to see price break up and then break the previous high, which is exactly what it's doing now. So continuation, right? Look for continuation. This is classified as a continuation. But this looks more as we broke up or break above this completely. And looking for a continuation here would be nice. Looks like we're stalling here. Look for a little bit more consolidation, a little bit more corrective, and look for the next upside move. Okay, so that is link here. Let me see what else is on my watch. Yeah, Cardano. Cardano, I talk about this as well, and looks like it's doing exactly what we talk about. Again, we see this as a corrective phrase. I want the price to break up above that higher time frame double top. So it looks like we're doing that. This is another correction. We push the upside now, which is great. This is exactly what we want to see. And if we zoom out here on the higher time frame, we're breaking above this previous high now, right? I talk about this. If the price break previous high and there's continuation, get in on the buy. Because again, you see these kind of scoop formation, right? This is just tend to be a little bit faster. We're breaking this high now. So continuation, look for the next buy. Right? We're expecting this to all the way, if not break above previous high, right? We're seeing this again everywhere in the market. So no difference here, guys, okay? Yeah, Ethereum. Ethereum, the only one I'm a little bit hesitate on because of this current structure is in. If we look at the higher time frame, you see how Ethereum has doing this same thing, scoop formation. We're at the all-time high now, right? And this is why all these other ones I talk about, I expect this to happen, right? I expect this to happen. So we're at this all-time high now. Be careful, right? Because what the structure here is telling me is this looks like a larger ascending channel. It's not complete, it's not for sure, but it's throwing me off a bit because I rather see continuation. Excuse me. I rather see continuation on a lower time frame. We're approaching or at this all-time high. So this last bit of the price is a little bit showing me reversal. So why don't we wait for a complete breakout followed by continuation? Right? Because right now on the lower time frame, this to me is not really a continuation for this move. Rather, it looks like it's a little bit reversal. Right? So I don't want to trade something like this, especially we're just sitting at this all-time high here, right? Wait for the price to give you that confirmation is always going to be the key here, in my opinion. All right, so overall scoop formation, you look at this everywhere, right? We talk about in Bitcoin, we talk about in Link, we talk about that in Stellar. So everywhere you go, you're going to see that big scoop, right? So it's a matter of how you capitalize on them and what is your approach when you see that happening as well. Okay. Any question, guys? Any question on these cryptos? What are your thoughts on ZCUSD? Sure, I'll take a look. I don't actively trade all the cryptos, like all the ones that's available. So I only going to trade the main ones. You can see on my watch list on the right. I only trade kind of the main ones, or actually, or look into the main ones I meant. So let's see here. So what I see here, at least the first time looking at it, is that we're still in this kind of consolidation phase. You can see the difference between these ones and the other ones I point out. We're still in a corrective phase, in my opinion, on the higher time frame. This is still rather corrective. Okay, so I would wait for a clear breakout, right? A clear breakout from the previous highs, and then continue upwards. Right now, I'm not seeing that. This is why it's throwing me off, or at least I'm not interested in it because it's not like the same as the other crypto where they had clear trending bullish move, right? If we look at price actionly, if we look at price action alone, this is clearly trending up, right? Um, even Link, I think, was trending up, right? This is trending at least, to say the least. Whereas the one that we just went over is not. That's why it's not in. I'm not too interested in that. Okay. AMC, I will go over AMC. Dogcoin, yeah, let's talk about that. So we clearly had this period of consolidation, right? If we zoom in a little bit, I know it's very hard because the price moves so much. It's sometimes it's hard to see the actual movement. But if we zoom into this section here, this is before the massive takeoff, right? But if we look at clearly, there's actually clear bullish kind of price action, right? I know it's hard to see, but um, this is clearly a first bullish push to the upside. And this looks like a first bullish continuation, and then we pop to the upside again. So what I see this, or how my approach on this, I've been reading about this, or at least people have been forwarding me their things, their thoughts on this, or the news that they see on it. Uh, I often hear the word pump and dump in this. I may or may not agree with that. I think this is just a strong bullish surge to the upside. If there's going to be continuation here, um, I definitely see there's more potential. Um, but I'm not seeing this yet, at least on the lower time frame. This is that strong surge to the upside. This was looked like it was going to be a continuation, but it did not happen. So is this going to be some larger continuation now? Hard to tell. It's very hard to see. This is a little bit not going anywhere. It looks like it's just kind of stalling here. I'm not seeing a buy or a sell, but obviously the strong bullish push is still always in the back of my mind. So I would wait just to see a little bit more development in this area, okay, to give you a little bit more confluence or at least a little bit more clarity on what the price we're going to do. Okay. Jojo, I would like to give us more back testing videos and how to put trend lines in the exact positions. Yeah, I'll make those as time goes on. Sorry, I have a lot of things to do. Like I will get to it as well for sure. I did make a dollar CAD video, but I will make those periodically moving forward as well. Okay, so bear with me with those. Algo, yeah. So I'll go here. I guess what I don't like is we're approaching this all-time high now. This is all the data I've. I don't know if I don't know if other crypto broker has more data, but let's see. Okay, so all-time high was here, I'm assuming, but either way, we're approaching to this swing high now, right? So overall scoop is good. We're approaching the swing high, which is also good. I don't know if you're in a trade or you're looking for a trade, but I don't see. I see this bullish potential. I see this bullish potential as a correction to correct all this, but I don't like how we're approaching to this high now, right? Notice I don't really like to trade or hold a trade through a previous high or all-time high if they don't get enough risk reward, or I don't like to trade through it in general unless we kind of break through it and continue upwards. It certainly has that tendency, right? We've seen the same scoop. We're approaching this previous high. We certainly can continue, but it's about do you enter here or do you not enter here, right? I personally won't. I would wait for a breakout from this high and continue upwards. Okay, so that's my approach on this. I appreciate that, CMO. Education you have given me is priceless. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So appreciate your feedback. Update on AMC. Okay, let me finish oil. I'll jump into AMC. What I see on oil, well, this is the kind of the area that I was watching for. Okay, I know some people were looking at this as a potential buy, and yeah, I mean this is clearly a correction to correct this move. So a impulse correction impulse. Um, but what I throw me off was, this previous swing high. Is this going to continue, or is this going to be something like this now as a corrective structure? I will wait a little bit longer. Okay, I don't like to get into these buys again. We're approaching these highs, right? Um, it's what I always mention. It's not that they won't go, right? This time it went, certainly. It's just a probability thing. It's just what I'm trying to say is trading is all about probability. If you randomly buy a pair, you have a probability of winning and probability of losing, right? Wouldn't everyone agree on this? Even if you're not doing any chart work, I just randomly close my eye and I go buy. Some of the time will work, right? Because it's just a probability. But how often will that work, and how often do you determine to use this close my eyes and guessing strategy, right? You want to have a plan, you want to have a strategy, you want to have a way of analyzing the market, and you stick to it, and that's kind of how you to be consistent in the market. So I wasn't interested in this buy, but let's see what will happen on a higher time frame. Is this just going to continue to take off? I don't really see that likely. I rather see a deeper pullback or deeper consolidation or something like that because we already recovered so much, right? And I'm not really seeing that continuation. Maybe it can continue a little bit higher, but I'd rather see a corrective phrase here, and then we push down, and then potentially forming something bigger or something to continue. Okay, so that's kind of my approach on oil. AMC. Let me answer this. Do you have a checklist of confluence before entering each trades? I wouldn't say checklist, but I would say something in your trading plan or in your entries. Like in my ebook, I talk about go-to setup, right? Go-to setups. I have a few go-to setups I always take, right? I even made a video, I think, on this. Let me see if I can find it. Um, yeah, I think there's a video on go-to. Sorry, I can't find. Let me see if I can find it here. Well, at least in these videos, setting stop loss and all that stuff, I think I talk about that. So maybe you can watch that. Um, oh, is it here? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to find this video that I made, but I don't know where I put it. Oh yeah, here. Um, Check out this video. Go to setup entries. That kind of explains to me what I look for in the market and what I do and kind of criteria I look for. Okay. So anyways, let's continue. AMC. Yeah, let's talk about AMC. Let's talk about AMC here. Yeah, let's talk about. I'm just purely sticking to higher time frame. I don't really talk about lower time frame when it comes to these, but I even made a post about this yesterday. So this is what I see on AMC. Um, Higher time frame wise, we're at this all-time high. We have this kind of double top area price drop, and then we have a sharp bearish impulse correction, and supposedly continuation, right? But instead, we pretty much fall into this kind of falling wedge kind of structure. So clearly a reversal structure, and then we have a pop to the upside, right? This is clearly a pop to the upside. So how I see this and how I what my approach this is the same as the other ones is if this is going to be a bullish push to the upside, you have to wait for some sort of bullish continuation, and that's kind of how the price will continue to push up. We do have these reversal structure, which is good, but in this latest bit of the price, we all know what's happening in the stock market. So be a little bit more patient. Is this going to develop a similar correction like this, making this an inverse head and shoulder on a higher time frame, and then eventually take off afterwards? Okay, long-term approach not going to happen in days or weeks, right? It's going to take months or even quarterly or a year to happen, right? You need a correction here, maybe to correct this move and then continue upwards. That's what I see on AMC. Okay, so stupid question. Not a stupid question, Pawn. But could you elaborate what would happen if someone was to buy $100 worth of every single crypto and just hold them for long term, no trading? Of course, some of them will inevitably bust, but knowing the market is growing in the long run, it would mean profit, wouldn't it? Um, to simply answer that question, yeah. Why wouldn't it, right? Why wouldn't the crypto continue, right? It's the same approach. It's like it's like if you look at Bitcoin, it's like, okay, why didn't we buy it when it's $10, right? It's the same idea, right? It happens in time, right? Years, but it's the same approach. If someone was to hold like to buy bitcoins at $10, they would be, and if they're holding it till this now, um, he would be a multi-millionaire, right? But most of the time, people don't do that, right? Most of the time, people don't hold through that long. They don't hold through that long as an investment. That happens, right? I think Warren Buffett said something like this before. It was like, uh, but people don't want to get rich slowly, right? And I think that's really the mindset. Once again, is a lot of these cryptos are lower cost right now, right? If you hold it for the next 10 years, yeah, surely enough, they might all go up crazy, and you can make a small fortune out of it. But will you hold for 10 years? Will you not get emotional when you make some profit, or when it's in a declining stage, when you sell it, right? It's really this to it. Someone bought Bitcoin, let's say $10. It reached 19, 20,000. They didn't sell. It dropped down all the way to like 3,000. They sold all of them. And then now it's back to like 40,000. Right? Think about the emotion that they go through. Okay. So we can never make the best decisions. We can never buy the lowest point and sell the highest point. It's literally impossible. It's just having how you think about it, and do you have a plan? What's your plan on it? So if you're planning to put $100 in and invest for the next like 10 years, then do that and stick to it, right? You can't just be like, oh, I'm seeing a decline now, so I'm gonna sell. And then guess what happened when you sell and it surges, and you're gonna hate on yourself to do that. Okay, so that's my approach on this, in my opinion. Um, so pips, yeah, let's take a look at that. This is the first time looking at this. Actually, I didn't really pay attention to these companies, but uh, I'm not really seeing much. I hate to say that I'm seeing a more bearish kind of thing, right? This looks to me is more bearish kind of move, right? This, like what I'm seeing here, this is a move down, correction, move down, and then a larger correction, and then looks like it's going to move down. I know they're supposed to be making vaccines. I know they're supposed to be going up. I'm not really seeing that, right? I'm not really seeing this at this point, okay? So that's that. Tesla, sure. Let's go Tesla. I definitely see Tesla as continuation. We've been continuously pushing up, which is great. We've been looking at this all the way since the bottom here, right? So Tesla again is, in my opinion, great investment, great for long term, right? We all know that Tesla is the biggest car maker by capitalization now. So um, it looks like we're just forming a continuation correction here, which is great, right? We have a push to the upside. It looks like this is a continuation correction. We can likely to see another push to the upside. Right, so I do see this as pretty good. I will keep an eye on this as well. Um, was able to get in on, I think, one of these buys. I can't remember. I got into one of these buys, got all when this pushed down, and then I was not involved afterwards. But looking at all this and looking at all these price action, right? Correction, we break out, mini correction to get in. Looks like we're just forming another continuation for further upside. Okay. Uh, Jojo, do you have a video on how to invest in stocks? I don't, but it's going to be the same as how I trade currencies or any other market, right? It's the same. It's just on different broker, different platforms. I don't see the difference in those. Why I try to, I don't want to say deviate. Why I don't day trade stocks? There's a few reasons. I have enough exposure or risk as it is already to currencies, to crypto and things like that. I don't need to add more exposure to stocks, especially stocks I don't really. We all know stocks open only 5 days within that time range, right? Like let's say New York sessions is going to open in the New York session only. Of course, you can trade after hours or whatever, but my point is I don't like gapping. I don't like how stocks are gapping and things like that, right? Whereas currency is at least 5 days, 24 hours. Crypto is 7 days, 24 hours, right? So they're not as subject to something like this. And again, stocks is sometimes I want to say this word is sometimes are manipulated, right? Manipulations, as we have seen in the last week, right? So that's why I don't day trade them. I would swing trade them. I would trade them as a investment. I talk about this like I talk about like Nike, right? Talk about Nike would be an investment. Right from the bottom, I think this is an investment type of trade type of thing to hold rather than a day trade thing. But that's just my preference, right? Everybody can trade or understand or utilize differently, right? It's not the same for me. But personally, like I said, I'm more into currency, right? So more into currencies move, right? We kind of see move. We kind of see. I always prefer to trade currency over stocks, anyways. I think there's less restrictions and less bound to things that can happen to them. Okay. Any other question, guys? Any other question for me? UAL is a stock or crypto? Well, I hate to see it this way, but I still see this as a potential bearish move, right? This is a strong bearish impulse down, and looks like this is like a continuation that's developing here, right? So that's why I don't like this too much. Uh, I'd rather wait for a little bit more development. I'm not really looking to short sell stocks, honestly. I'm not in that range. I don't like to short sell stocks anyways. But looks like it's a correction period. Looks like it's a consolidation period to continue downwards. Unfortunately, that's kind of how I see. Okay. To answer that question, Pon, very simply, okay, is um, I'm wondering why regular people even do swing trading. It's a sure way to get eaten by whales. Um, but here's the feedback. Here's what Warren Buffett said. Nobody wants to get rich slow. Okay, everybody wants to get rich quick. That's why people trade, right? And that's why when people have the mindset to get rich quick, they usually lose more money, right? Link, I mentioned this already, right? We break this all-time high. We broke this high here, which is great, right? Price continued to the upside, so I would say wait for a continuation to go. It was a stock, right? Not crypto. Well, this looks like it's just in a massive bullish trend, right? We have at least a correction here to correct, but I don't know if this is going to be a small correction to continue, or we might just get into a larger correction before it goes, because we have been already inclined so much already. So as these correction gets smaller and tighter as we move up, I think it's more risky to enter these. I think this was the perfect entry because there was no correction yet, but this looks like it could either develop into a correction to go or into a bigger correction. Okay. Yeah. So like to see. I appreciate a lot of new guys coming in. I see a lot of new faces, new names. If you like what I'm doing, make sure you check out my videos. Check out my videos on YouTube and TradingView and my Telegram channel. This is where I post all my analysis, my links, my educational videos, and everything I do here is post on Telegram because that's how I um, uh, all my updates are posting here, right? So, trading view, I've been posting very actively. Did I change this? Looks like it's a little bit changed. And then, yeah, I've been actively posting trading view. So make sure you follow me on this. And YouTube, right? I do all my videos on YouTube. It's all for free. You can learn everything about price action here. If you want to know about how I trade and what I look for in the market, it's all in here. So feel free to look at that. Okay. Thanks, Jojo. Is this the usual time you do your videos update so I can watch you live? Well, Cobra, I do 3 streams a week. I try to do 3 streams a week. Okay, so I try to do them in one each different sessions. Okay, so I try to do one in the week, in the Asian session for a weekly outlook. So I do that on Sunday night or Monday morning. I do this New York session market update usually on a Tuesday time. Usually Tuesday, this New York session is where I do the New York session update. And on a Thursday morning is when I usually do a London session market update. Okay, so I try to do one in different sessions and different time. Okay, so hey Mark, thanks for the coin, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's my schedule. What I do, at least I try to do on each sessions. Jojo never sleeps. He trusts Harry. Yeah, you see me everywhere. I see you everywhere, so you don't sleep much either, buddy. Well, like for example, today when I do a New York sessions, because I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Canada, so actually when I do a New York session update, it's like it's 7 o'clock for me. So I usually try to wake up at like 6:30 or something, to just browse through the market before I do a stream. And then for the London session market update, it's 11 p.m. or 12 midnight for me, right? So it's kind of over the place, right? But that is trading, guys, right? You just have to it's opportunity cost, right? You need to give up something in order to get something, right? There's no easy way around anything. Okay, so in order for us to, do the analysis, be active in the market, you're gonna lose some sleep or you're gonna lose some time, right? But that is how it is, guys. So once you acknowledge that, right, and once you are comfortable at what you're doing, things will just start turning into your favor. That's all I can say, right? But you have to put in the time and effort when it comes to things like this, right? There's no quick way around, learning and things like that. I keep emphasizing this on social media that there's no quick way to learn things, right? I know these social media telling you you can learn from them and you can be wealthy or rich in no time, but that's wrong, right? That's not how it works, okay? And I hate to say it that way very honestly because um, those gurus out there are trying to make money off you, right? So you just have to understand their marketing and advertising schemes. What they're trying to do. Are they showing you things you want to see? Are they showing you profit, result, cars, homes, things you want to see? Then you need to second think about it when they start showing you all these stuff, because that's how you have an attachment to what they're saying, and you're buying to what they're saying. Okay. So, any other question, guys? Any other question for me? I think this is a good time to wrap it up. We've been talking about for an hour and a half already. Went through all the markets and still looking pretty good to um, holding Bitcoin. And I'm also in dollar yen, right? Let's take a look at dollar yen. So I'm still in dollar yen, still holding the position, still see what will happen in the upcoming days or so. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, you're welcome to join my Telegram. You can ask me questions there, guys. I answer questions, or if you have anything you want to ask me. I have a group chat in my Telegram, right? In my group chat, I have a group chat discussion where we can. I can't see it here, I guess, but this is where you can ask me questions and things like that. You can post charts, right? Okay. So that is it, guys. That is it. Feel free to, connect with me on those, and then hope to chat with you guys next time. Okay. I will do a London session market update. Oh, someone asked me, are these streams going to upload? Yeah, all these streams I'm doing always upload to TradingView and YouTube. So if you go on TradingView, you go on my page. You go on my page. There's a section that says stream, right? So go on my section. Go on my page. Sorry. Go stream. Um, all the streams is upload here. Okay, all the streams I do here is uploaded permanently. Since end of November, I can't remember when. But it's also uploaded on my YouTube. So you go my playlist. All my weekly Outlook streams are in my weekly Outlook playlist. Okay, so you check out this playlist. All the daily market update are in the daily market update one. Okay, so all right, guys. So thank you very much for tuning into this one. I appreciate everyone's feedback. I appreciate all the positive feedback from everyone. So hope to see you guys again soon. And happy trading for the week. All right. Thank you very much, guys.